chair, you know it's not fair. It's time to go back home. Take off and leave me alone, alright. Just go back home. It's time to leave me late. Walk on.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today for the 2020 Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board annual meeting. Look, we're all socially distanced. Just in case, though, I did bring my little bottle of hand sanitizer to make sure that I'm completely healthy. My name is Tony Coder, and I'm the Executive Director of the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. We're a statewide nonprofit working to bring changes in attitudes and perceptions surrounding suicide and its relationship to mental illness and drug and alcohol abuse. For more about who we are and what we do, visit our website at ohiospf.org. I'm also a Morrow County resident and have lived in Mount Gilead for the past 17 years. My two oldest sons graduated from Mount Gilead, and my youngest son is a sixth grader at Mount Gilead Middle School. So I know what a wonderful community and wonderful people reside in Morrow County, and I'm happy to call it home. Now, normally, this event is held like any other typical banquet. We would be in person with one another. I'd be up on a podium, probably a stage of some kind. We would be celebrating the many folks who are getting awards and celebrating a great year that the board has had in 2020. But this hasn't been a typical year, has it? This has been a year of hardship, of fear, of uncertainty. But it's also been a year of community, a year of people helping one another, a year of realizing just how essential our essential workers truly are. Whether it's answering hotline calls from people in distress, finding ways to counsel those who need it, making sure essential needs are still being met, or even just keeping the finances in order, your work in 2020 makes you a hero. The Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, thank you for all of your hard work and for continuing to provide residents with the essential care and services they need. One example is a call that I received a few weeks ago from a 21-year-old woman who was suicidal. I gave Deanna and the board a call, and immediately they got me in touch with someone who was able to help this woman. So even though we might not see every story and every person that we impact, our impact truly is something great to those who live in Delaware and Morrow counties. I'd like to begin our program today with Board Chair Joe Gelati. Joe has been a board member since 2017 after a long career with the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Good morning. Thank you, Tony. My name is Joe Gelati, and I'm pleased to be the chairperson of the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. I'm proud to be a member of this board because I believe we're poised for growth and development in 2021. The population in our two board areas is projected to rise over the next few years, and the variety of the geography in both of the counties requires some creativity in thinking about how to problem solve. I appreciate the time and commitment of our board members. By definition, we are all volunteers, and by definition, a volunteer is someone who freely commits to an enterprise or undertakes a task. Qualities of a good volunteer include reliability, being there when you say they're going to be there, good interpersonal skills, because we have to have good, honest, and open discussions, and ability to learn quickly because things change quickly. We have to make decisions based on recent data. Good problem-solving skills, because not everything's an easy issue. Our board is driven by Ohio statute, Ohio Revised Code 340, which among other things requires that we establish a community support system in each of the communities. And then we protect the personal liberties of individuals who have mental illness or substance abuse. Our board has 14 board members, and they commit to monthly meetings, and in addition to that, they commit to participating in subcommittee meetings, the Finance Committee, Planning Committee, Infrastructure Committee, and the Executive Committee. So multiple board members participate in multiple committees, and that's multiple time commitments. During this past year, I've been very proud of our board members, our staff, the contract service providers, as they've learned to be creative in a virtual environment. Under Deanna's leadership, the board has strengthened its members, its staff, and infrastructure to meet the challenges of 2021. I'm looking forward to working with each of our board members as we meet those challenges in the next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for your leadership. It is so valuable to have someone on the board who is such a tremendous leader and tremendous partner in the work we're trying to do. Our next speaker is Heidi Kegley. As superintendent of Delaware City Schools, Heidi has been a tireless advocate for the mental health and wellness of nearly 6,000 students from the pre-K to 12th grade and has played a major role in helping students access behavioral health care through prevention programs and counseling services.
I'm Heidi Kegley, Superintendent of Delaware City Schools. As a parent and as an educator, I am so grateful for the prevention resources the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board provides. I've seen firsthand the impact made in our schools and in our communities in Delaware and Morrow County. They are providing the prevention resources which are critical always, but especially now. We know our students and families are experiencing trauma and uncertainty. We also know the prevention which has been and is currently being provided is essential in helping us all navigate this pandemic. Centero Behavioral Health Services for Youth, Maryhaven, NAMI Ending the Silence, RPR, Too Good for Drugs, Too Good for Violence, Helpline, Question, Persuade, Refer, Signs of Suicide, and Dating Violence are just a few of the partners and programs being provided in Delaware and Morrow County by the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. The collaboration and cooperation are essential to ensure that these prevention resources are reaching all of the corners of our counties. When prevention resources are provided and brought to the schools, this helps us to eliminate barriers of transportation and time. Our families are busy and they are working hard. By providing the programs in our schools, we are able to meet the students where they are, and they can reach out to the trusted adults in their schools for additional support. We know through the programming, students begin to understand they are not alone in how they are feeling or what they have experienced or what they will experience in the future. Our students come to us with a story, just as each of us has a story. Sometimes we know the stories, and sometimes we only find out pieces of the stories. But the stories make us who we are. In the book, Walk to Beautiful, Jimmy Wayne shares his story of growing up and the obstacles he overcame during that journey. He also shares the many experiences he has had in schools and in the communities he lived in during his school years. His story resonated with me as I thought about the different students I have had and the opportunity to meet and get to know them over the years, and why we all have an important role in understanding their story and providing the specific support they need to experience success. We can never miss an opportunity to connect with a student because we may never know the lasting impact it will instill in that student. We also can never miss an opportunity to provide prevention education and resources to the students in our communities. You need to know that every interaction matters, and even if you do not directly see the impact, you need to believe you did whatever it took to help the student as they were growing and developing. As I was thinking about all of the prevention education, I thought of the many students I have interacted with, both as an educator in Delaware County and as a parent in Morrow County. I thought about the thousands of decisions these students will make and the ability for them to remember what they have learned through prevention education. One particular student comes to mind. This student grew up in a home where there was drug abuse and untreated mental illness. And there were multiple moves between homes and schools as he grew up. Sometimes he would live with his family, and sometimes he would have to live with someone else. Unfortunately, his dad died of an overdose, and his mom continues to struggle with her addictions. He has and continues to make healthy decisions. He experienced so much that could have easily helped him make a path and make a turn that was not towards healthy decisions. But he chose those healthy decisions and chose the path that was not what he had experienced growing up. I have to believe the prevention education and supports provided throughout his school experience allowed him to know that there were different options and resources available to him. We know through prevention education, our students become confident that they can overcome the obstacles in their lives. We know many of our students come to us with obstacles. Some we know about, some we discover, and some they keep hidden from us for years. We have been able to help more students than ever before by having the resources in our schools and in our communities readily accessible for all. None of us can do this alone, and the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board understands the needs in Delaware and Morrow counties and have brought the resources and the support and the prevention resources to our communities. We are grateful for all they are doing and look forward to continuing to partner as we help our students and their families overcome the barriers they are facing each day by providing hope.
Thank you, Heidi, for those inspiring words and for your leadership, not only in Delaware City Schools, but for the leadership you provide at the board. Delaware City Schools is not the only organization looking out for our community. To recognize these people going above and beyond, the board is proud to present the Helping Hands Awards. Here to announce this year's recipients is Board Community Relations Coordinator Kyle Lewis.
Thanks, Tony, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. Whether you're watching from home or watching from your office or sitting in a gaggle in the boardroom across from my office, I really can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us today. This has been a hard year. You've heard it over and over and over again, and it reminds me of some of my favorite advice from Fred Rogers when he says, "Look for the helpers." And that's great advice for people who need help. But sometimes as adults and as community leaders and as mental health professionals, it falls on you to actually be the helper. And that's really what we're looking for when we give out our Helping Hands Award every year. We ask for nominations from community members and from our provider network. And after going through all the nominations, I am so thrilled to give it to two wonderful people within our provider network. The first is Marilyn Hartsock of Safe Harbor Peer Support Services. The second is Bobby McEldowney of Maryhaven. Marilyn is the Fiscal Operations Manager for Safe Harbor. She's been working there since 2011. Her coworkers describe her as the backbone of the organization, supporting staff and consumers. Bobby has been working as a peer recovery support specialist for Maryhaven for the last 2 years, and her friends describe her as passionate and driven to serve others. According to her coworkers, Bobby is able to establish a rapport with clients like no one else. Congratulations to you two, and thank you so much for everything you do. Now, we did receive one nomination that we thought couldn't just go unrewarded, and we decided to make it kind of a special award. So take a look.
And you were nominated.
What?
What? Yes, you were. So
That's very
not
nice.
only do we have something for you, I printed you your nomination so you can keep it and read it.
Nice.
That talks about, and for us it was two things. You were nominated by Angie Lee from Safe Harbor Peer Support
Okay.
for the work that you did with them distributing food during the pandemic. And then from us for your work with DAP.
Okay.
because we really felt like your leadership has kind of held things together.
I'm the straightforward kind of guy.
Yes, but also Tenji, the voice of reason, right?
Yes.
I mean, kind of the perception and point of view that keeps everything level and keeps everybody on a straight path.
Yeah.
So we have some things for you.
Wow. Okay,
So
good.
would you keep that? And in keeping with our, I'm gonna do this backwards.
There you go.
With our hero thing.
Oh, nice. I
Yeah.
like that.
So that's for you.
Here, I'll come over here. It's. I think this means a lot to me because this is obviously with them coming from the community. You know, I don't do it to get awards. Obviously, just enjoy that aspect of it. But you know, this is definitely nice to. Anytime you recognize for me, it's nice. So, but I definitely just appreciate the fact that I'm able to help and be part of it.
We'd like to thank Lieutenant Grewal of the Ohio State Highway Patrol for all the help he's given, going outside his job description and really just going above and beyond for everything he does for the citizens of Morrow County and the state in general. So thank you guys for being with us today, and back to you, Tony.
One program the board is especially proud of is the Community Crisis Intervention Team program. Law enforcement officers attend a 40-hour CIT course that helps them recognize and react appropriately to mental health and addiction-related crises. CIT training can bring community leaders together, help keep officers and citizens safe, and save a community lives, and promotes positive interactions between law enforcement and behavioral health systems. For the program to work, a community needs dedicated officers and trainers, and today we're honoring one of the best. Here's Board Associate Director Rihanna Maddox to introduce our CIT Officer of the Year, Bob Hatcher of the Delaware Police Department.
This year we're honoring Officer Bob Hatcher with the CIT Officer of the Year Award. CIT is most famously known for the core 40-hour training that we have for law enforcement, mental health clinicians, and our community partners so that we can strengthen our crisis system. Although CIT is best known for training, CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Teams, and no one embodies this more than Officer Hatcher. Officer Hatcher is very involved in the community of Delaware. He's served on Delmore Dwellings Board since 2016. He is actively involved with many of our small businesses, our mental health partners, Main Street Delaware. Honestly, if there's an activity in town, you'll likely see Officer Hatcher there. So we really want to extend our gratitude to him for, facilitating all of the things he's done, growing Masset to a point of, having it be something that's very impressive. It's gained attention across the country and honestly grown to the point where we've had to add new positions to facilitate all the work that needs to be done to help the residents of Delaware County. So here's to you, Officer Hatcher. We really appreciate all your help and we couldn't do it without you.
We would probably fill so much time in today's program by having community members talk about Officer Hatcher's impact, but hopefully his trophy, our gratitude, and the embarrassment we've already caused him will do the trick. Our second keynote speaker today is Lewis Center native Ryan Danley. Ryan is a sought-after speaker and entrepreneur, but his life hasn't exactly been what he thought it would be when he was younger.
Hi, my name is Ryan Danley. I was born in Youngstown, Ohio, and I moved here to the Worthington area when I was 12. Graduated high school in Thomas Worthington, and then I went to Butler in Indiana, where I stayed for a period of about 10 years until I came back for a job at Honda. This job was really cool. It allowed me to travel around North America, and part of my job took me to Markham in Canada near Toronto. I actually had some friends in Canada who I had met at a music festival a few years back. And so this job allowed me to reconnect with them, which was really great. One time they invited me and my wife up to a friend's cottage to go snowmobiling. And I had never gone snowmobiling, but I'm all about adventure and I'm like, okay, this sounds like an awesome time. Let's do it. So we go up there, and there's about 18 of us, and we're having a great time. And the first day, everything goes well, and I have a wonderful time snowmobiling. And this actually caused me to go to bed early, and I wanted to get up early so I could be one of the first people on the snowmobiles. And I did, and I was. And so we went outside, and we're actually in the back of my friend's property. There's a lake called Williams Lake. It's not very, very big, but it's Canada in the wintertime. So this thing is frozen. There's snow up past our knees, and we are ripping these snowmobiles around this lake, and I'm going the same path that I'd gone the day previous. And for some reason I kind of veered off differently, and I was going and going and going, and the neighbors had a dock that jutted out from the land, and it was unmarked. It didn't have any red markers on it or anything like that, and unfortunately I didn't see it until it was a little bit too late. So I come back to, and I'm on my back looking at the sky, and my friends are around me, asked me if I'm okay, and I thought I was, and I didn't feel any pain at the time, and they're like, okay, let's go back to the house and get everything started and get the day started, have a good time. I'm like, okay. And I went to stand up, and nothing happened. Like, nothing. It was really unsettling. And so all I could repeat to myself was, what did I do? What did I do? And from that point on, I was under the care of healthcare workers. My friends actually had to snowmobile out the EMS to get where we were, and they put me on a stretcher and carried me through the woods about a mile, where they put me on an ambulance and took me to a place where a helicopter could land, and took me to the hospital. And I spent about 2.5 weeks in the hospital in Canada before I was able to make my way back to Ohio. And I met so many wonderful people who took care of me along the way. And unfortunately this video can't go on too long, so I don't want to name all of them, but one that I do want to highlight in particular is a gentleman that I met when I got to Ohio. His name is Nate Casey, and he was my physical therapist the entire time that I was at Dodd Rehabilitation Hospital at Ohio State University.
Main thing that I'm looking for, and you can watch here, is for your toes to come up, just like that.
Start to feel it.
Okay. Nice.
I was there for about 6.5 weeks, I believe, and the whole time, Nate just made me feel good. It just turned 30 when I crashed, and life was looking on the up, and one of the worst things that could happen to a person happens to me. It does something to you, like to not be able to move anymore. I found out that I had a spinal cord injury. I was injured at the C7 vertebrae, which meant that my arms and my hands are impacted, and basically everything below my chest. And so coming to terms with that is something that takes a long time, and something that, quite frankly, I'm still dealing with. But one of the reasons that I was equipped to get to the place that I am today was because of Nate. I remember a couple times in particular. One, I was just feeling really down on the day, and he was like, I got something special for you today. I'm like, what is that? and he'd arranged for some of the other physical therapists and interns there to play a game of wheelchair basketball with me. And my wife got involved, and I'd set up baskets and got me a sports wheelchair. And you know, it was one of the first times I really smiled after getting hurt.
Is this chair? Oh, nice catch.
Put it in there.
Oh, cherry pick.
And Nate was just someone who's willing to put in the extra time and extra effort with you. I believe out of all the weeks I was there, I don't think he missed a Saturday, actually. He would schedule extra sessions with me and just dedicate his time to making sure I was okay. And I really appreciated that. And if it wasn't for the wonderful healthcare workers, the nurses, the PCAs, the massage therapists that would come see me, psychologists that would come visit, the doctors that would make their rounds, the rec therapists that were able to put a smile on my face when it was quite hard to do so. If it weren't for these people, the people that cleaned my room and changed my sheets, and made me feel comfortable in a place where it's really difficult to be comfortable with lights and noises and smells. If it weren't for all these people, I would have been equipped to make it home. The general baseline, the general foundation that would get me through the hell that I would encounter when I got home and realized that life was always going to be different. So thank you for going above and beyond.
Ryan, what an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We appreciate the hard work you've done to get to where you are. And we'd also like to thank the therapists, both physical and behavioral, who have helped Ryan and others like him. We're happy to say that Ryan has recently become a board member for Safe Harbor Peer Support Services. Congratulations, Ryan. We'd like to take a moment to recognize one of our essential community partners. Morrow County Sheriff John Hinton was recently recognized by the Ohio Association of County Behavioral Health Authorities for their 2020 CARES Award after being nominated by the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. Sheriff Hinton was one of 8 first responders, local officials, and healthcare workers across the state to win this award, and it's one he truly deserves. Thank you so much, Sheriff, for your continued advocacy for mental health and addiction services, and congratulations on your recent re-election. Our final award today is the Arthur S. Fleming Award. You know, Delaware residents may recognize the name of the former Ohio Wesleyan graduate and eventual university president. Fleming is known nationally as one of the architects of Social Security, as President Eisenhower's Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare, and eventually serving as the chairman of the United States Commission on Civil Rights. With a resume like Fleming's, the award bearing his name must go to someone who has dedicated their career to making their community a better place to live, and we're happy to give it to someone who has done just that. For nearly 30 years, Jim Wilson has made sure that the most vulnerable residents of Delaware and Morrow counties have a place to call home. His organization, Delmore Dwellings, provides housing, services, and support to the most vulnerable members of our community, allowing their residents a chance to lead as typical a life as possible. The hard work of Jim and his dedicated staff has paid off in a major way as Delmore Dwellings opened Courage Court, a brand new housing complex in Delaware City that will house 40 neighbors, staff, and provide much-needed meeting and recreation areas. Congratulations again, Jim. You know, we thought that after 3 decades of service to mental health in Delaware and Morrow counties, just having your own trophy fell a little bit flat. That's why the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board is proud to announce today that Jim Wilson is the final recipient of the Arthur S. Fleming Award, and in 2021, this will be the first year of the Jim Wilson Lifetime Service Award. Our final speaker today is Board Executive Director Deanna Brandt. You know, not only can I call Deanna a friend, but Deanna has been leading the way for the board since 2017 and has truly made her mark on the behavioral health community in Delaware and Morrow counties.
Good morning. First off, I want to thank everybody in attendance at the Delaware-Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board 2020 annual meeting. We've all had to learn some new skills this year to attend a meeting such as this, a lot of them technical. For those of us who have been in the field for a while, we realize that's no small task. I'm sure every speech you've heard this year has told you about how hard things have been and how we've never been through anything like this in our lifetimes. That's all true. This year has been especially difficult, and none of us have ever dealt with a pandemic of this magnitude. But we don't want to focus on that today. For one, that's a heck of a downer to start your day, but mostly it's because we're here to talk to you about the good things. One of the positives that came from the pandemic for me personally was getting to see the firsthand strength of the staff here at the board. Ideally, 2020 would not be the year where you want to restructure almost your entire table of organization, but that's exactly what we've done, and I couldn't be prouder of how the staff have stepped up to the plate. Rihanna Maddox has joined us in the Associate Director role, and we have added Beth Anderson as a Finance Director and a Director of Community Impact, Kristen Warren. Kyle Lewis came aboard to run our communications efforts, and Kelly Wood keeps the office running smoothly as our administrative assistant. Last but certainly not least, we were fortunate to have Karen Moore as our finance specialist throughout all of the changes here. We've done our best to support our community in these unprecedented times by funding behavioral health services in a flexible manner, by supplying PPE to our providers and community partners when desperately needed, and by assisting with everyone's adaptation to the new normal. We're very mindful that every dollar we distribute should ideally go toward directly helping the people of Delaware and Morrow counties access behavioral health care. The reason for that is that nearly 80% of our revenue comes directly from you in the community. This funding comes to us in the form of a 5-year property tax levy. In November of 2021, we will once again ask the voters to support this levy. We use these funds to ensure the provision of high-quality behavioral health care services and supports across the continuum of care and across the lifespan for our residents, to provide planning and oversight into behavioral health practices and strategies, and provide support for our providers so that they may better serve you. In the coming months, we will be launching our 2021 levy campaign, and we would greatly appreciate your continued support. I'm sure most of you watching this already know, but a pandemic does not eliminate the need for mental health and addiction care. If anything, it has increased the need for both. While our staff has been working hard to maintain the continuum of care, we've seen the efforts made by our provider network to continue treatment for their clients, but also keep their employees safe from exposure. It has not been easy, and there's a lot of work yet to be done, but we're committed to working alongside you every step of the way. Now, sometimes that means we'll be providing funds, participating in meetings, working through problems, and sometimes we get to load up a van and deliver self-care packages to show our providers just how much we appreciate what they do, just as we did earlier this month. Thanks again for all that you do to promote behavioral health care. We look forward to taking on the challenges that 2021 will bring. If you would like more information on the work of the board, the care available to you in our community, the wonderful people who make up our board and staff, or any other information, please check out our website or find us on social media. Before I let you go, there is one more presentation we had to do. I had no prior warning for this, and my staff can be very sneaky. Outside my door is a special recognition they got from me to commemorate the rocky times we have been through this year. My staff knows me and knows the only way they could get me to accept a gift from them would be to do it while I'm on camera. Thank you all for watching and for partnering with us this past year. Here's to better times ahead. Oh my God.
Can you read it?
If you want the rainbow, you have to put up with the rain. Thank you.
Well, that's our program for today. We'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And again, we want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of our providers, their staffs, and all of our community partners as we wind down 2020. We still have so much work to do. But after all we've been through this year, I think we're up to the challenge. Have a great afternoon and enjoy your holidays safely.